Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's news recap. We've got a lot to cover tonight. Let's dive right into the top stories. Our top story tonight: the Houthis have claimed to have shot down yet another American MQ-9 Reaper drone over Yemen. This marks the seventh Reaper drone lost to the group since November 2023 and the seventh loss in 2024. For context, the largest number of Reaper losses in a single year was 11 in 2015, primarily due to manufacturing and maintenance issues. The increasing losses raise questions about the effectiveness and vulnerability of these drones in conflict zones. In other news, Ukraine's Air Force has unveiled NATO-supplied F-16 fighter jets now in service. These jets are equipped with AIM-120 AMRAAMs, AIM-9 Sidewinders, and PIDS plus countermeasure pylons. This development marks a significant boost to Ukraine's defense capabilities amid ongoing tensions with Russia. The U.S. Justice Department has filed a lawsuit against TikTok and its parent company ByteDance, alleging violations of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. The lawsuit claims TikTok failed to obtain parental consent before collecting personal information from users under 13. FTC Chair Lina Khan stated that TikTok's practices threaten the safety of millions of children. The lawsuit, supported by the Federal Trade Commission, aims to end what it calls unlawful massive-scale invasions of children's privacy, and seeks significant penalties that could amount to billions of dollars. Former President Donald Trump has announced that he is pulling out of the scheduled September 10th debate with Vice President Kamala Harris on ABC. Instead, he proposes a debate on Fox News on September 4th in Pennsylvania, with a full arena audience. Trump cited ongoing litigation with ABC and the end of Joe Biden's campaign as reasons for the change. Harris criticized the move, suggesting Trump is running scared and emphasizing her campaign's openness to additional debates post-September 10th. In legislative news, a bill to expand the child tax credit was blocked in the Senate amid partisan conflict. The Tax Relief for American Families and Workers Act of 2024 aimed to increase the maximum child tax credit from $1,600 to $2,000 per child through 2025. Despite receiving 48 votes in favor, the bill fell short of the 60 needed for passage. Supporters emphasized the potential benefits for 15 million children from lower-income families, while opponents argued that the bill was more about expanding welfare than providing meaningful tax relief. Our top story tonight: breaking news. 7 U.S. military personnel have been injured after a rocket attack targeted Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq. An Iraqi resistance group claimed responsibility for the attack, with 2 rockets hitting the base and a third being intercepted. This base has been targeted multiple times in the past, including during the Trump administration. The Department of Defense is conducting a post-attack damage assessment and will provide updates as more information becomes available. President Biden released a statement following a meeting with his national security team regarding the situation in the Middle East. He emphasized the steps being taken to defend U.S. forces and respond to any attacks. Biden also spoke with Jordanian King Abdullah II, discussing efforts to de-escalate regional tensions and affirming U.S. support for Jordan as a key ally. The U.S. stock market has continued its decline for the third consecutive day, wiping out more than $1.8 trillion just today. At the market's opening, the S&P 500 decreased by 199 points, or 3.7%, to 5,147.88. The Nasdaq Composite fell by 4.6%. Major tech companies like Apple and Meta saw significant declines of around 5%, while Nvidia dropped 10%. Currently, the Dow Jones is down $900, and the Nasdaq is down $400. Bitcoin also saw fluctuations, dropping to $49,000 last night before climbing back to $54,000. The market downturn began on Thursday with weak manufacturing reports raising concerns about the U.S. economy struggling under high interest rates. On Friday, lower-than-expected job growth data added to the worries. The Federal Reserve's decision to maintain current interest rates has led to significant criticism. Despite these losses, most U.S. stocks remain positive for the year, with the S&P 500 up 9% and the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 3%. However, concerns persist that high interest rates could increase the risk of a recession. This market downturn has also impacted Asian and European markets. Japan's benchmark stock index plunged 12.4% on Monday, with significant drops also seen in Korea and Taiwan. Historically, the S&P 500's performance between July 31 and October 31st has been a key predictor of presidential election outcomes. Currently, the S&P 500 is down roughly 5% since the 31st. In world news, amid growing concerns about a potential Iranian attack on Israel, U.S. Central Command Commander General Michael Eric Kurilla has arrived in Israel for high-level discussions with defense officials. The talks are focused on joint preparations in anticipation of possible aggression from Iran and its proxies. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant emphasized the importance of expanding the international coalition facing these threats. Meanwhile, Russia has sent Sergei Shoigu, the former top defense official and current secretary of the Russian Security Council, to meet with Iranian officials. According to Iranian media, Shoigu is scheduled to meet with the president and other top officials to discuss regional security matters. During a press briefing at the State Department, spokesman Matthew Miller responded to questions about Israel's negotiation efforts with Gaza. When asked why the U.S. believes Israel is negotiating in good faith despite the killing of the chief negotiator from the other party, Miller emphasized the U.S. position. Miller stated, "I will speak to what we've seen in the negotiations, and that is, first of all, an agreement to the framework, and then some other issues that we're trying to resolve going forward. I'm not going to assess the motives of either party involved, but we have impressed upon the government of Israel quite directly that they need to work to get to yes on this agreement." When questioned about Israel allegedly blocking food aid to Gaza, Miller clarified, "It's not that they're blocking aid from coming in. They are letting aid come to the various crossings, and then we continue to struggle with the security situation inside Gaza." He highlighted the challenges of operating in a conflict zone. Ismail Haniyeh, the former leader of Hamas and classified as a terrorist by the U.S., was the chief negotiator during ceasefire talks with Israel. Qatar has played a significant role in mediating these talks. Haniyeh, who lived in Qatar, was killed in Tehran. In other news, Chinese state TV has released footage of the People's Liberation Army's special forces conducting a training exercise to commemorate their 97th anniversary. The Jiaolong Commandos, an amphibious unit, showcased advanced equipment such as electric skateboards, jet surfboards, and bird-shaped drones. Vice President Kamala Harris has named Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her vice presidential running mate for the upcoming election. In a statement, Governor Walz said, "It is the honor of a lifetime to join Kamala Harris in this campaign. I'm all in. Vice President Harris is showing us the politics of what's possible." Harris praised Walz's dedication to working families, saying, "As a governor, a coach, a teacher, and a veteran, he's delivered for working families like his. It's great to have him on the team." Walz, the current governor of Minnesota, has a background in the Army National Guard, teaching and coaching. As governor, he has led significant liberal reforms, including strict gun control measures and voting rights expansions. During a White House press briefing, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre addressed Republican criticism of Harris's running mate pick, citing President Biden's praise for Walz as a powerful voice for working people. American military forces have fully withdrawn from Niger, officially ending its counterterrorism mission in the country. The withdrawal follows a directive from the Nigerian junta, which took power in a coup in July 2023. The withdrawal raises concerns about regional counterterrorism operations, as the Sahel continues to be a hotspot for jihadist activity. Hamas has announced that Yahya Sinwar, the group's leader in Gaza, will succeed Ismail Haniyeh as chairman of the Hamas Political Bureau following Haniyeh's assassination in Tehran. A U.S. judge ruled on Monday that Google violated antitrust law by spending billions to create an illegal monopoly. This decision is a significant victory for federal authorities challenging big tech's market dominance. The ruling paves the way for a second trial to determine potential remedies, including a possible breakup of Google parent Alphabet. This case marks the first major antitrust decision against a big tech company in a generation. Ukraine's offensive in Russia. Developing news from Eastern Europe. Ukraine has reportedly captured part of the Russian city of Sudzha after launching an offensive across the border roughly 36 hours ago. A local Russian citizen described the situation as total chaos. Russian military bloggers claim the Ukrainian military controls the city and has made advancements up to 20 miles within Russia. The Russian Air Force is now actively launching airstrikes on the town. This follows Russia's defense ministry confirmation on Tuesday that Ukraine launched an attack on the Kursk region. Reports from Moscow indicate that up to 300 Ukrainian soldiers, supported by armored vehicles and tanks, were involved in the assault on Russian border defenses. The Russian Defense Ministry stated, "The enemy today launched another attempt to break into the territory of Russia's Kursk region." Artillery fire, Army aviation strikes, and drone strikes are being inflicted on the enemy. Videos online show Russian troops in Ukrainian custody and dead Russian soldiers in the streets. Ukraine has not officially commented, though Andriy Kovalenko from the Ukrainian National Security and Defense Council claimed Russia was lying about the controllability of the situation. He stated, "Russia does not control the border." Segment 2, Putin and Gerasimov respond. Russian President Vladimir Putin and General Valery Gerasimov have addressed the situation. Gerasimov claimed that 100 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed and 215 wounded, with 54 vehicles, including 7 tanks, destroyed. Putin ordered officials to immediately address the situation. Videos and photos circulating online show between 40 and 100 Russian soldiers taken into custody by Ukrainian forces in the region. Segment 3, Ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas. Despite ongoing tensions in the Middle East, a top White House official has stated that a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is as close as it has ever been. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby highlighted a promising proposal before both sides. Kirby said, "There is a good proposal before both sides, and they need to both accept that proposal so we can get this in place. We are as close as we think we have ever been." U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken also emphasized the urgency of finalizing an agreement to bring calm to the region. Israel demands the release of 115 people kidnapped on October 7th, while Hamas demands the release of an undisclosed number of Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. Previous negotiations saw Israel releasing some in exchange for hostages. Segment 4, Attack on U.S. politicians foiled. In the U.S., a Pakistani man with alleged ties to Iran has been charged for attempting to recruit individuals to assassinate American politicians in retaliation for the 2020 killing of Iran's top commander, Qasem Soleimani. Asif Merchant was charged with murder for hire in a New York federal court. Attorney General Merrick Garland stated, "The Justice Department has been working aggressively to counter Iran's efforts to retaliate against American public officials. The criminal complaint indicates that high security figures, including former President Donald Trump, were potential targets." Segment 5, Security threat at Taylor Swift concerts. 2 suspected extremists were arrested in Austria for planning an attack on Taylor Swift concerts in Vienna. The main suspect, a 19-year-old who pledged allegiance to the Islamic State, was arrested with chemical substances linked to the plot. Security measures for Swift's concerts have been increased. Authorities confirmed that the suspect aimed to target high-profile events. Vienna Police Chief Gerhard Pürstel emphasized that while the immediate danger was minimized, the risk justified heightened security. Segment 6, Elon Musk relocates X headquarters. Elon Musk plans to close X's San Francisco office and move the headquarters to Texas. This follows his clash with California Governor Gavin Newsom over a new student gender identity law. Musk criticized the law, warning it would drive families and companies out of California. Ex-CEO Linda Yaccarino announced the office closure in a staff memo, stating it was the right one for our company in the long term. Musk cited safety concerns around the San Francisco office as a factor in the decision. Segment 7, Union endorses Kamala Harris. The Hospitality Workers Union, Unite Here, has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president, challenging Donald Trump's promise to make tips tax-free. Union President Gwen Mills criticized Trump and praised Harris for her consistent support for unions. Trump proposed excluding tips from federal income taxes during a rally in Nevada. The union plans to mobilize members to canvass over 3.3 million doors in swing states. Segment 8, Pelosi's remarks on Biden. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi suggested that President Joe Biden deserves to be added to Mount Rushmore, calling him a consequential president. In a CBS interview, Pelosi defended Biden, asserting that he was in a good place to make whatever decision, the top of his game. Pelosi's remarks follow Biden's announcement to withdraw from the presidential race. Reports indicated that Pelosi advised Biden that his age could harm the Democrats' chances in the upcoming elections. Economic debate on the campaign trail. First, we turn our attention to the campaign trail, where Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator J.D. Vance are offering starkly different views on the state of the U.S. economy. Vice President Harris says the U.S. economy is doing well on many measures, but she acknowledged that prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. She promised that if elected president, it would be a day-one priority to fight to bring down prices. Harris also vowed to take on corporations, corporate landlords, and big pharma. On the other hand, Senator J.D. Vance had a very different take. He blamed Kamala Harris for the rising cost of living, saying, "Thanks to Kamala Harris, grocery prices are up 30% since she took office. Gas prices are up 50%. Rent is over 40%. Every single thing that Americans need to buy in order to live a halfway decent life has become more expensive because of Kamala Harris's economic policies." Vance also accused Harris of running from the media, refusing to answer tough questions, and hoping that a basement campaign is going to earn her a promotion. And I think we ought to say to Kamala Harris that you are fired. Segment 2, Trump's stance on AR-15 ownership. Next, former President Donald Trump addressed the media at Mar-a-Lago today, where he was questioned about his stance on AR-15 rifle ownership. The question comes in light of the recent assassination attempt against him, where the shooter reportedly used an AR-15. Trump has not indicated any change in his stance on gun rights, but the question underscores the ongoing debate about firearms in America, especially in light of recent events. Segment 3, Harris versus Trump, the debate stage is set. In campaign news, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have agreed to debate on September 10th, with the event set to be broadcast on ABC. Trump, during his Mar-a-Lago press conference, expressed a desire for additional debates on September 4th and 25th, suggesting they could air on Fox and NBC. Harris, in a post on X, stated she was eager for the September 10th debate and open to discussing more debates. Recent polls show Harris leading Trump by 5 points, marking a significant shift since she replaced Joe Biden as the Democratic candidate. Segment 4, Legal Battle over DACA and Health Insurance. In legal news, 15 states have filed a federal lawsuit against the Biden administration. The lawsuit challenges a new rule expected to allow 100,000 DACA immigrants to enroll in the Affordable Care Act's health insurance next year. The legal challenge is part of a broader battle over immigration policy and healthcare access, two issues that continue to polarize the nation. Segment 5, Elon Musk and the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Finally, some industry news. The Global Alliance for Responsible Media is reportedly shutting down. This follows legal action by Elon Musk's X, which accused the initiative of conspiring to withhold advertising revenue from the platform. Musk's battle with the Media Alliance is just one chapter in his ongoing effort to reshape the landscape of digital media and advertising. The fallout from this legal battle could have wide-reaching implications for the industry. From a tragic plane crash in Brazil to escalating tensions in Syria, here are tonight's top stories. We begin with developing news from São Paulo, Brazil, where a commercial aircraft has gone down. The plane, identified as an ATR-72 registered to Vopas Airlines, was on flight number 2Z2283 from Cascavel to São Paulo when it crashed earlier today. The aircraft, tail number PSVPB, was built in 2010. Initial reports at 10:27 a.m. PDT indicated 58 passengers on board, but by 11:04 a.m. the number was updated to 62. Tragically, the local governor has confirmed that there are no survivors. This is a devastating loss, and our thoughts are with the families of those on board. Drone attack on American forces in Syria. In other breaking news, reports are coming in of an explosive drone attack targeting American forces at the Karab Algier base near Al-Hasakah, Syria. The situation is still developing, and there is no word yet on casualties. This attack comes just days after Iran-backed militia forces launched a rocket attack on the Al-Assad base in Iraq, wounding several soldiers and contractors. The region remains tense, with escalating hostilities posing ongoing risks to U.S. forces. Suspicious item at the White House. Closer to home, the United States Secret Service has confirmed that emergency services were dispatched to the White House earlier today to investigate a suspicious item. The area was temporarily closed off as a precautionary measure. It's important to note that neither President Joe Biden nor Vice President Kamala Harris were in Washington, D.C. at the time of the incident. We'll bring you more updates as they become available. Ukrainian incursion in Russia's Kursk region. Turning now to the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe, Russia has declared a federal emergency after hundreds of Ukrainian troops crossed into the Kursk region. This marks one of Kiev's largest operations on Russian soil since the conflict began. The incursion, which occurred approximately 500 kilometers southwest of Moscow, has led to the evacuation of thousands of residents. The Russian Defense Ministry reports that they are actively repelling the Ukrainian forces with airstrikes, artillery, and ground troops. The situation remains fluid, and the impact of this incursion could have significant implications for the conflict's future. FTX ordered to pay $12.7 billion in relief. In financial news, a U.S. court has ordered the bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX to pay $12.7 billion in relief to its customers. The settlement follows a lawsuit by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which found that FTX had misled its customers, creating a false sense of security while misusing their deposits for risky investments. The settlement prioritizes customer claims, with $8.7 billion in restitution and $4 billion in disgorgement. FTX has assured customers of a full recovery based on the value of their accounts at the time of the bankruptcy filing. However, some customers have expressed dissatisfaction with the terms, particularly the valuation of cryptocurrencies as of November 2022. The final bankruptcy proposal is set to be approved in October. Thailand's Move Forward Party dissolved. Finally, in Asia, Thailand's constitutional court has ordered the dissolution of the opposition party, Move Forward. The ruling comes after the party's attempt to amend the country's strict royal defamation laws was deemed a threat to the constitutional monarchy. This decision has sparked concern among international observers and has led to calls for protests within Thailand. Move Forward's remaining 143 lawmakers have vowed to regroup and form a new party, continuing their fight for reform. The ruling has dealt a significant blow to the party's young and urban supporters, who rallied behind its progressive platform. That's all for tonight's news update. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to monitor these stories and bring you the latest developments. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a good night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.